Hello, flower friends. This is Jen. On this week's episode of the Floral CEO Podcast, we are going to start diving in to the end of the year. I I often make a big deal out of the end of the year because I feel like I'm not one of those people like I need a new year for a new start. If I want to start something, I can start it now. It's not a big deal. Like, I don't need a time frame. I don't need, which so many people do. And I think part of that is help make me successful in actually executing, because so many people, they come into the new year coming in hot with all these big dreams and all these big hopes. And I mean, I think the recent stat I saw is like 90% of people don't make it past the first month of making their goals happen. So if 90% of the people are going in and failing, how can you be the 10%? I'm not focusing on anything other than being the 10%. I am someone who makes my goals happen. I am someone who creates momentum. I am someone who, I don't know if you can hear it, but listen even how I talk to myself and I talk about myself. I am an action-taking, problem-solving woman, and I have it in my gut that you are too. So often going into a new year, you come up with all these amazing dreams and goals, but do you take a pause and actually look what happened? What happened in 2025 that worked? What sort of worked? And what didn't work at all? And really dive in. A lot of times I'll hear someone talking about, I'm doing a million things in my business. And one of the first questions, I'm like, what do you really like to do? This is often when somebody is trying to do everything. They're doing planters, they're doing garden, they're doing subscriptions, they're doing hotels, they're doing events, they're doing funerals, like, literally, if there was a checklist of you as a florist, are you checking off the majority of the boxes? Because honestly, that is really hard to do successfully. So, really diving in to what you were doing that is working. And not only, I kind of add that second layer, what are you doing that's working that actually feels good? What actually feels good to you? Because if you're doing something and it's working, but it feels like shit, is that really how you're wanting to feel in 2026? Are you wanting, like, one thing that really doesn't feel good to me, and I'm just using this as an example, as someone who has lost my, I've lost 3 siblings. I've lost both my parents. Obviously, I mean, all my grandparents, all, like, so many people. And as someone who, like, funeral homes, and for some reason, like, setting a casket spray on an actual coffin, like, really doesn't feel good to me. Like, and I'm someone who is chill as fuck, calm, and I don't let much bother me. But that straight up doesn't feel good. And I could spend a ton of time fighting that feeling. I could spend a ton of time, like, in reaction to, like, that feeling. I could be like, I really need to push through that feeling. And you know what? There are some times that you just need to put your big girl panties on. And honestly, if for some reason I had a close friend that their mother died or something, I would figure it out because I love them. But I don't need to figure that out for Janet, who's calling me about Uncle Tom's funeral. I just, I don't. And the same thing happened for me with daily orders. I was like, this is when I lived in the city. So I was like, live in Bloomington. There's not very many florists there. I'm growing flowers, just like all these things. And I'm thinking like, this is a super great idea. And then I was like, I'm listening to my phone and I'm like, my cortisol levels I know are spiked as all get out. And like, it just straight up didn't feel good. Like always like having to be after years of having to take care of my parents and living into reactivity that I often worried when the phone rang that something happened to them or honestly something happened to someone. I didn't like the way that felt anymore. And with the level of spam calls that are now happening, I'm really glad that I have my phone on DND. Like, it does not feel in alignment with me when I especially looked at the revenue, which could have been for a lack of trying. I will put that caveat in. But, like, when I looked at the reactivity my body was living in and the amount of revenue that was associated with it, and then the time of me having to run and go figure it out because I don't always have flowers in stock because I'm not a flower shop. If I was a flower shop and that was my job, that is a completely different thing. Then I need to figure out, okay, if that is like, what is the revenue? What is my average order value? Does my average order value make me feel good right now? Does the revenue from that, with how much work of me showing up at my shop every day, does that feel good? And you go through this exercise of really reflecting. Then you add layers into it. And actually, you guys, this is something that we dive deep into in the Floral CEO Mastermind. In the month of January, we kind of dive in and we do goal planning, we reflect, we, look forward, we make a plan and really dive into what we want our business to look and feel like in 2026. And I felt like, some of these goal setting exercises would be helpful for you guys. So on January 5th, you come back from vacation, bushy-tailed and bright-eyed, and I'm inviting you in. The link is going to be in the bio. I'm inviting you in for our New Year goal party. We're going to go in and dig into goals, and I'm going to bring you through a ton of these exercises. It's going to be at 1:00 Central Standard Time, and I'm so excited to even hear what some of your guys' goals are, because I feel like anytime I have a goal, I need to say it out loud. And I was actually listening to the Rachel Hollis podcast this week, and I don't often disagree with her. I think she's a brilliant woman. But maybe this isn't me, because when I say my goals out loud, I mean, that doesn't mean, for one, that it couldn't change. My goal couldn't change. What my goal looks like couldn't change. That the vision couldn't change. And just because I said it doesn't mean that this is concrete. But what it does mean is that somebody could ask me about it. Somebody could be like, hey, are you doing this? Hey, are you doing this? I have some goals on the farm. I really want to, and see, I'm not even saying it, the way I'm saying it right now isn't even saying I'm making it happen, because there's a couple caveats to that. I really want to have a camp for kids on our farm. I want it to be farm camp, like literally farm camp, where kids can come and learn about growing flowers. They can learn about all the animals on our farm. They can feed them. They can go pick eggs with me. We can do farm crafts. And I have no idea why this sounds fun, because they are not my children, but I know how much being on a farm has changed my children's life. And I mean, I asked my daughter the other day, when you think about your old school and when you think about your new school, do things feel better, the same, different? And she was like, "Oh, Mom, this is way better. I love living on the farm. This was like the best idea ever." And this is my child who has autism, ADHD, high anxiety, and she, of course, is learning to navigate that at 11 years old and has been going through early puberty and has, I mean, just all the things. But here, like, I can see like what a difference that has made for her. But what stands in the way is me getting permits for it and me doing all the things. But like, that is one goal that I really want to figure out. I want to help people. I want to give people experiences. This farm, and I know you guys are probably like, I can't fucking listen about this farm anymore, but it's changed my life. And that was a goal. This started with me and my husband sitting down and saying we want a different life for our children and that we are going to own a farm and speaking that into existence. And so if you are feeling bold and you are feeling brave, I want to invite you to our little goal party on January 5th, because this is the time for change. The economy is changing. People are changing. I'm changing. I hope you're changing. Like, I want to feel better. Like, I want like to not ever wonder if my cortisol is high. I like got served some high cortisol tea ads and I was like, why the fuck does it think that I have high cortisol and it's serving me ads? And then I'm like, what is a high cortisol tea? I'm like, then I'm curious, like, what kind of course I ordered it. I'm just saying, but I, I always want better. And that's what the new year is for me. It's a time to reflect on what could be better. And I think so many times we feel like we're just in survival mode that we don't have capacity for anything else. And I met with a coaching client. She's just a very lovely, kick-ass, high-achieving woman that I loved her energy and I loved her enthusiasm. And we talked about like growing her business, and a couple areas of her business don't feel good. Like they're not like super like, you should want to just jump out of bed and be like, I'm going to go do this shit. But if you're just like, that sucks. And I mean, that wasn't her words. I'm paraphrasing. Like, that sucks. And especially when you look at the revenue for it, which I'm guessing you have that same example in your business, you guys. What if you got rid of that thing that sucks? What if you expanded the thing that was really winning? And sometimes because you've already grown, you feel like the growth is there and like you can't imagine. I couldn't imagine when my business hit 100,000 that I could do anymore. I honestly like remember that feeling going, this feels so much. But that was when I was working full time. That's when all of these things, and I created space. I decided like, I'm going to do this part of the florist world. If I want to opt out of a holiday, I'm going to opt out of a holiday. Because if it doesn't feel like, if I'm not inspired, if I'm not, and I know that that's coming from a place of privilege because sometimes you just need to make money, and I totally get that. But I've worked really hard on making my wedding floral business very successful that I can choose because I went all in. I went all in on making my wedding flower business successful. But like my silk flower business is doing well. My a la carte flowers is doing well. I started to add. Once I already knew, like, I'm getting really good at this. And now I'm already dreaming up what's going to be added next to support the thing that I'm already crushing. I'm starting to get people to actually ask me, they're asking me, could you design our wedding? Could you design like the concept? And now that I've got, I think, 10 workshops under my belt, and I have 2 WIPA. I'm the director of programs for WIPA Minneapolis, and I helped put one concept together, helped really execute and put ideation and details together for our last event, and have the concept and everything laid out for our next event. And I feel like that is so fun for me. And now, like, I get to incorporate that fun in my business. And so I'm inviting you in January 5th to go through a little goal setting party. You're going to, the week before the workshop, I'm going to be sending out a goal planning worksheet for you to dive into during the party, because who doesn't want to like dream about everybody's floral business together? Like, how fun does that sound? Let's all dream about making our businesses more successful, more profitable with other flower friends. So head to the show notes and check out the link and start to go through. You might have a little downtime. Maybe you're going to be busy with evergreen and making centerpieces. If that's inspiring to you, do that. Like, totally dive into that. But if it isn't, like, think, okay, how much time did I spend on this? How much money did I make on this? I always like to back into, and I walk through this in the workshop. What was my hourly rate for this? Because in so many things, you guys are making minimum wage, and I just stop. Let's stop the madness and start running profitable businesses that are inspiring. I hope this was helpful. I would love to see you on January 5th for our goal setting party. And I hope you have a great, amazing rest of your week. Next week is Christmas, and we are getting ready. I have to dig out all of our wrapping paper from our move, so that's going to be super exciting. And I hope you have an amazing flower-filled week.